Welcome back to episode 20 of the Rundown Podcast. We know you missed us. We got Destin in here.
What's up?
We got my boy Eli.
What's up, everybody?
And my boy JP.
What's up?
All right, boys. In this episode, we're going to get into everything that happened in football world over the weekend. We're going to get into Auburn with the coaching turmoil that's going on right now, and whether they should fire Harsin or keep him for a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and get into it. There's been some rumors about who Auburn might hire if they fire Harsin, and there was a lot of rumors saying that if Harsin lost that Missouri game, that he was gone that week. And, you know, in my opinion, watching that game, Auburn should have lost that 3 separate times. But, I mean, a win's a win. They barely squeaked out a win against one of the worst teams in the SEC. And I think – they still have quarterback issues. They're not giving the ball to Tank enough. I mean, I can't really say enough about Auburn's issues right now. But me personally, if I were to get rid of Harsin and I'm the one making the decisions for Auburn, I would go after Deion Sanders, just because what has been Auburn's biggest issue in why they can't compete with Bama and Georgia in recent years. And it's been they have not had a recruiting class anywhere close to the level Georgia and Alabama does. And if that's one thing Deion Sanders can bring to Auburn is competition in the recruiting world. Like he will get kids to Auburn. If he can get kids to Jackson State, he'll get kids to Auburn with just the bigger program, more assets, all the things. And I think that's what Auburn really needs is a coach that can really establish a new culture there and at least compete with Saban and Kirby Smart in recruiting.
Yeah, watching that Auburn and Missouri game this past week, Auburn's really kind of in they're in a dumpster fire type of situation. You really can't be in a worse situation. They tried to get Harsin fired this past offseason, obviously, and then they had the ugly loss to Penn State last week, as we all saw. Sean Clifford and Penn State came in there and just waxed the floor down in Jordan Hare. And when we're talking about this Missouri game, honestly, Auburn, they should be 2-2 right now. They're lucky to be 3-1. In terms of coaches, though, Deion Sanders is definitely an interesting name, obviously, due to the fact that he can recruit really well. I think Georgia Tech's in a really good spot, and maybe potentially get Deion as well. That's another coaching carousel that's opened up. He has ties to the Atlanta area, and that would be a really good spot for him as well. So we'll have to wait and see. If there's one coach in particular, I think Auburn, if I'm the athletic director for Auburn, I'm trying to get Urban Meyer. I want Urban Meyer if I'm Auburn, because Urban, I don't necessarily agree with his tactics. He's more so he doesn't care how he wins, who he brings in. He's going to try to win at all costs. And I feel like he's a infinitely way better coach than Deion Sanders too. But Deion is an incredible recruiter though. And I do think he would put Auburn in the mix more with some of these recruits that we see that are in state and coming from Georgia too. That's another big thing. Auburn hasn't been able to land any of these big time commits from the state of Alabama or Georgia in a really long time. So yeah, they're in a bit of a sticky situation right now. If there was one coach in particular, though, I think Auburn should throw all their money at it. Should be Urban Meyer, because he's a proven winner. He can recruit on top of that, and he just he has the resume, he has the background, and feel like he's a way better coach than Deion Sanders.
Yeah, what's going on down there in Auburn is it's terrible, and it's been bad for a little while now. I'm a Bama fan, but I always want Auburn to be a good team because it's just more exciting for football. It's hard for a rivalry to be interesting when one team's always beating up on the other. Like Noah said, they still got a quarterback controversy. They finally made the switch, but it didn't look like a lot better. Robbie had a couple exciting plays, but obviously Missouri blew that game, missing kicks that are almost close to extra points. You can't be doing that. But as far as the head coaching switch that they need to make, it's obvious that Brian, they got to get him out of there. It's been bad ever since he got there. And this offseason, they were trying to get rid. They had controversy going on then, so it doesn't seem to have any type of leadership going on. Who they should get? They should throw all the money they have at both of them, and whichever one will come, they should be happy to have them. If you can get Dion, that could be a massive culture change. I probably would go after Dion more because his personality. Y'all don't question to y'all. Do y'all think that Urban Meyer's history will make it like that doesn't play a factor into it at all? Like
What
he just got fired for? What he just got fired for?
I mean, but that's NFL though. You gotta remember NFL and college is different. I mean, look at Saban. Saban NFL as a coach and Saban as a college coach is two totally different things. So I think trying to make the transition to college and NFL is really hard, and most coaches can't do it. Outside of Jim Harbaugh, I can't think of a coach who's been able to do both ways pretty good. So usually, when you're great in college, you're not that good in pros, and that's shown in most coaches outside of Jim Harbaugh. But I'm actually with Eli all the way on this one. You to me, Urban Meyer is the best guy. He's a proven guy. He's been in the SEC. He can show that he has a statement of winning. He's won SEC championships. He's won national championships. He's won everywhere that he's been. Rather than Dion, his recruiting has been at Jackson State. Like, I'm not trying to say Jackson State's not that good or anything, but recruiting in the SEC and trying to recruit a guy at Jackson State, it's two totally different things. So I'm not sure. I can't really get on the bandwagon that he's a great recruiter because I've only seen him do that at Jackson State. Trying to beat out Bama, Georgia, LSU, teams like that, you need a guy who's already proven that's already been in that conference. And I think Urban Meyer would just be the better guy to go after.
Yeah, and this is my. I think this is one thing Destin was kind of wondering about the Auburn willing to hire Urban Meyer with like the character issues that we saw this past year with the Jaguars. But a perfect example of this, a coach that had character issues back when he was coaching in the early 2010s with Arkansas was Bobby Petrino, and now we see him and he's got a job again. So really, I don't think. I mean, honestly, I feel like Auburn they hate being in this situation right now with getting beat up by Alabama just about every year. I did think they kind of did Gus Malzahn a little dirty because he was the most winningest coach against Saban. I don't know if that was necessarily right of them to just kick him off the ship the way they did, but I don't think character issues are really going to play that much of a factor into the coaching carousel for Auburn because we've seen coaches with these huge scandals in the past who have still, they waited out a couple years and then they get right back into the college football game when it comes to coaching. And Bobby Petrino is a perfect example of that. He built a great program with Arkansas, and then he had that whole scandal that happened with that affair, and then he got kicked off as he got fired as the Arkansas coach, and then now we see him coaching college football again. So,
yeah,
I'm not tired of Urban Meyer though. I'm sick of Urban Meyer.
What do you mean, Urban Meyer? He's a proven guy. I mean,
I know, but like he just be jumping team to team. Like, dude, I'm not trying to see him down there in Auburn. Like, I'd much rather see Dion.
If you don't want to see him at Auburn, if you don't want to see him at Auburn, it's because he has a history of doing a lot of winning, and that would scare you as a Bama fan.
No, it's not. I just don't want to see Urban Meyer.
Why
not because of that. I would rather. I think Dion would be just way more. Dion going to Auburn just sounds fire. It just sounds.
It does.
Dion doesn't have the resume Urban does.
Look, this is my one thing. Dion has not proven anything. He's
what I'm saying. What is he?
Look, yeah, he can recruit at Jackson where's he coach at Jackson State? Is that right?
Yeah, you're right.
Jackson State. SEC is a whole nother ball game. Urban Meyer has proven he can recruit at the SEC level. He's won championships at the SEC
Bro,
level.
he's gonna
if he argument. What are we doing?
What you gonna say? He's just winning. No, but I'm saying Urban's gonna be there for what? How long will Urban will be in Auburn? No longer than 3 to 5 years, and then he's bouncing.
No, he was with Florida for 6+ years. He was with Ohio State for another 5 to 6 years. On top of that,
That's nothing.
He was at Ohio State for like 6 years too. So I mean, like, if you're Auburn, this is from the groundwork that we've seen. I would much rather take a coach that's proven rather than a coach who's been able to, get a few transfer portal guys from Jackson State and who has no experience whatsoever at coaching at this level. We've seen Urban Meyer win championships with Florida. We've seen him win championships consistently with Ohio State.
Let Noah go.
They're constantly a playoff contender.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Eli. Eli, we agree.
No
Eli.
argument. This is no argument.
All right. First of all, when you say it's no argument, there is an argument.
No, there's not.
And whenever you refuse to see the other side of the argument, that just means for ignorance. So, saying that Deion Sanders wouldn't work at Auburn. Here's the thing with Auburn, they're still paying 3 coaches, including Harsin. They're still paying Malzahn. They're still paying the guy they fired before Malzahn because they signed into a long contract. What Auburn does not want to do is have to fire someone else, pay another guy, and have to fire him 2 years later, which that you could run into that with Urban Meyer because of his off-the-field issues. And the thing that Deion Sanders would bring to Auburn is, first of all, the culture change, and I already brought up the recruiting competition. But what he would bring to Auburn is Deion Sanders is motivated. Like he's said multiple times that he wants to play these big schools at Jackson State because he wants to see how his guys stack up against these D1 blue chip recruits. And if you bring that mentality to Auburn, which is what you need whenever you face teams like Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, Arkansas every year, you need that type of mentality to actually change and flip the script that Auburn is right now, because Auburn right now is an absolute dumpster fire joke of a program when it comes to their football team.
Noah. I gotta disagree completely on this one with you. I gotta disagree completely again. I just don't see any check marks Deion Sanders is, because I mean, like you just said, okay, we're gonna talk about the guys that they still having to pay. I want to pay who hasn't proven anything in the SEC ever. His only experience is at Jackson State over a guy who has multiple national championships, has won the SEC multiple times. And outside of what he did in the NFL and that scandal, college, everywhere he goes, he's won 10, 11 games. Everywhere he goes, he's
right.
Though. If he goes, he gonna quit.
He doesn't have
he
doesn't have any bad losses in his career on the college ranks.
That's right. And I agree that Urban Meyer would be a good option, but I'm saying they've had coaches like Auburn's had when they had Gus Malzahn, he beat Alabama a few times and they still fired him. So like if you want they obviously aren't good enough with just being mediocre, get a few wins against Alabama here and there. They actually want to be a top tier program. I don't think let me finish. I don't think Urban Meyer in modern day coaching can do that because he has not showed that he can.
What?
Yeah, he did it with Ohio State.
He did.
Okay, hold on.
That was like 5-6 years ago.
State in the playoffs.
That was like 5-6 years ago.
He made like all right. Why did he leave? He had no reason to leave. Why did he leave?
Yeah, because he wanted to spend more time with his family.
I mean,
yeah, but
no. Hold on. Wait. I want y'all to answer. Wait, Eli, hold on. Why do you think why did Urban Meyer leave Ohio State?
Because he was wanting to retire at the time. He was talking about retiring.
No, that's not why. That's what he said, but he
but that's what
he left. No, bro, he left because he didn't make the playoff.
Listen. Look, listen. At the time, he was saying he wanted to retire. Now it turns out he came back out of retirement to coach with the Jaguars. But this is why y'all's argument makes no sense whatsoever. Because Deion Sanders, I get it. He's got the personality. He can recruit. But when you get to the SEC, it's a whole nother dog.
It's a whole nother.
And Noah talks about the fact how he was wanting to schedule SEC Power 5 teams. When has he done that at Jackson State up to this point? He hasn't.
I was saying he wanted
State right now.
What I said was,
if he goes to Auburn, I get it. He can recruit better. He's a better recruiter than Harsin, because from what I've heard, Harsin's recruiting like Dan Mullen was back at Florida. He's not even trying. So that's going to be an upgrade. I'm not denying the fact that it would be a better upgrade recruiting wise, but recruiting isn't all about it. You got to develop. You got to get those players that dog mentality. Urban Meyer, we know for a fact he can do that at that level. We don't
Hold
know
on,
that.
guys. Hold on,
Deion
guys.
Sanders-
Bro, wait, hold on.
You said
Eli, you just contradicted your whole argument. You're talking about Coach Prime, who is the definition of dog mentality.
Exactly.
And you're going to bring in Urban Meyer instead, who's raw dogging a chick at a bar?
Hold on.
Hey, Noah, so you're telling
Hold on.
Noah,
Noah,
Noah, tell me
Talking
how
about
many
what
champions-
kind of which
Noah,
dog
tell me-
mentality you're
Noah,
talking about?
Noah. Noah, all right, hold on.
He just
Noah, how many
ground
championships?
This is
How many
ridiculous.
championships
There's no
has Urban
argument.
Meyer won? How many championships has Urban Meyer won?
Yeah, y'all please
3?
name.
I guess 3. I don't know.
Okay, hey, you're
How many
bringing this up. This happened
championships-
before 2010.
No, it happened in
He won one
2008,
2014.
in 2009, and then it happened in 2015. And on top of that, Urban
Yeah.
Meyer has had multiple number one recruiting classes in the country.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders has never had a number one
He
recruiting.
Bro, the
Okay,
reason
look, he's never had a number one recruiting class. This is his first year as a head coach. That
Okay, so what,
I mean,
why-
he just had
okay,
the number one
Look.
recruit in the nation commit to Jackson State.
yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that's nowhere close to the number one recruiting class, and Urban Meyer's done that multiple
Wait,
He's
times.
coached for 1 year. This is his first year.
I know, but what I'm saying, no, it's not his first year; it's his
This
second.
is second. But yeah,
But this is what I'm saying. No, I get it. Deion Sanders is a good hire, but he is not a better hire than Urban
Not-
Meyer. Nowhere
He is.
close. No,
He
it's
is
not.
100%.
He is. He is.
He
He is
is
for the
100% a better hire
personality.
than Urban Meyer.
An unproven Jackson State 2-year head coach who can recruit
Okay,
Carson that has proven nothing in the landscape of college football.
bro.
He doesn't have the time. He hasn't had the time, and he's at Jackson State.
You're proving my point. You're
Okay,
proving-
okay.
He
The
has not
only
had
thing, the
time
only
to
thing,
prove
Urban,
it.
the only thing Urban Meyer has proved is that he's going to quit after 3 to 5 years.
Exactly. Thank you.
Hey, no. Look, Urban Meyer has proven he can win. He dominated the Big Ten. He dominated the SEC. He had dynasty after dynasty after dynasty. He did it in the Big Ten and the SEC. What are you talking about? I don't care
First of all, he had no
I care-
comp. Hold
I care-
on.
What
Hold
are you-
on. Let me cook.
No,
First of
you're
all,
not cooking at all. You're not cooking.
Okay.
No,
This is
He
Eli,
dominated.
Eli, no,
He
Eli,
dominated.
One of y'all
He
boys-
Hold on. He dominated. Hold on. Okay.
No, argument.
No, Eli needs to let someone else talk. For the love of God, let Destin go.
You guys aren't
He
you guys are proving my point.
Then let
Destin,
me
go.
prove your point. Then let me prove your point. He dominated the SEC until Nick came to Bama, and then he ran and wanted to quit. Or my bad, he had heart conditions. Then he ran Ohio State. Hold on. Then he ran to Ohio State. Perfect situation. There's no comp in the Big Ten. No comp. There was like every other year they have comp. On the Ohio State levels, there was no comp. Perfect situation. Why did he leave?
Destin, what
Because
are
they
you talking
weren't.
about?
But
It's the same every year. It's the same couple teams. Wisconsin is pretty solid, 10 wins.
no comp for Ohio State.
Dude,
No
but
comp.
that's every year though. That's
Hey, guess
before.
what?
So why did he? Hold on. Why did he leave Ohio State?
Why are you talking about why he left and not booking up when he won his natties?
Yeah.
He leaves, but he wins you championships before he leaves. Just I
He
don't
got
care.
one lucky
If you
championship.
leave after 5 years, fine. What did you do for me when you was here? You won me a natty. What is
Okay, all right. I got
not
something else
every
to say.
coach do.
So
How
Urban
many
Meyer,
coaches got 3 natties?
look, Urban Meyer is ducking the
Only
smoke
one.
from Saban and Nick Saban, or
Nobody-
Saban and Kirby Smart.
But
Look,
Destin Noah.
look,
Nobody.
who-
Deion
Destin
Sanders.
Outside
Destin Noah.
Urban
Nobody-
not even gonna
Look,
hold on. Urban not gonna
look.
take the job. Let Noah talk. Let Noah
Destin,
talk.
look, we're-
Eli,
we're
I
I
will
swear,
mute you.
bro.
Destin, nobody said Urban Meyer's a better coach than Nick Saban. What we're saying is Urban
I
Meyer.
said,
Dude, no one's saying that.
coaching
He
high.
ran.
Dude,
Yes.
look, Eli,
We know
Eli,
that. You don't have to
Eli,
tell.
that's
listen,
fine. He
listen.
won though.
listen,
won.
bro. Look, Urban Meyer, whenever Nick Saban came into the
Yeah,
picture,
but you didn't talk about what he did for the program while he was there. He still
Look.
won them. He left, but Florida, he still had a natty.
Listen.
He left Ohio State, but he left them with a
right,
natty.
right.
He
Listen,
leave them with
listen.
natty.
Two
That's
back-to-back
fine.
games.
That's fine.
Okay.
You won.
First of all, his natties at Florida was 15 years ago.
Exactly.
That's
Okay, so
That's fine.
whenever Nick Saban comes into
He
the
take it like
whenever
41.
Nick Saban,
Listen,
Whenever Nick's-
dang.
bro, whenever Nick Saban comes into the picture, Urban Meyer ducks and runs to the Big Ten.
That's fine.
And then he leaves the Big Ten for some suspicious reason. We're talking about
He's
Urban
dumb.
Meyer, who's going to have to play Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, all these other schools every year, and he is going to duck the smoke. He does it every time.
He's
He was
gonna
at Florida
quit.
for almost a
You're
decade.
we're talking about bringing in Deion Sanders, who is going to run up the chimney for how much he wants to smoke. I mean, he is going to flip.
Just
He's
'cause you
going to
want it
change
don't
the
mean-
culture.
We're gonna completely disregard the fact that Urban Meyer dominated the SEC. You're talking like Urban Meyer didn't do this.
Bro, he only won
ran
2
the SEC
championships.
before. Can you,
All right, how many coaches done that? How many coaches have done that right now?
Deion Sanders,
Outside of Dabo, who else has done that?
what is Debo?
Nobody, but that don't mean he dominated.
Thank
He just
you.
won 2. He just won 1 more championship.
Why are you just saying just 2? Like all coaches do this.
He's won 3.
No, but that's hold on. You
That's
act like
right.
that's domination. That's not domination.
Yes, it is. He went back to back. Florida was the best SEC
Outside of
For
Saban.
2 years, just 2
Okay.
years.
No, they were the best SEC program for like 5 or 6 years.
That's
Did
fact.
you not watch in
No,
the
no, no. But
2000s?
Bro, 2000,
what did he have to show for it? 2
2005 to
championships.
2008, it was Florida, bro.
2 championships.
That's 2 years.
0.
That's
Deion
2
had 0.
years.
Urban has
That's
2
it.
and another one in the Big Ten.
LSU got the same amount of championships from that time frame. Two
That's fine.
chips. You want to sit up and say LSU dominated the
How
SEC?
many
No, they
coaches
didn't.
How many
Yeah,
coaches?
they did. LSU in the
Yeah, but
2010
so
dominated.
LSU dominated the SEC? No, they
No.
did not.
Before Nick
I
Saban
thought
played.
that
They got 2 chips.
outside of Nick Saban, who the second best head coach right now?
Kirby Smart.
Kirby.
If Urban came back, Urban is better than Kirby Smart as a head coach.
No, no,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
absolutely
Look at
not.
Resume.
Hey. Look,
Resume.
so Noah,
No,
we're going to sit here after
Y'all
Kirby
recency
wins
bias.
one
Georgia just
championship.
won a natty, and now he's better than Urban Meyer already.
Kirby
What?
Smart wins 1 championship, and y'all have the
Exactly.
audacity to say he's a better coach than Urban Meyer.
And
When
that
Urban
wasn't
won
him.
3 times.
Because if Georgia,
He's been doing it for a longer span of time.
They beat him. Bama got
Bro,
hurt.
You
Okay.
you cannot be serious in saying that Urban Meyer would be a better coach than Kirby Smart.
at Auburn.
Urban
Listen.
Meyer.
Bro,
At Auburn.
come on.
Urban Meyer
At
is a
Auburn.
better coach than
They have
Kirby
forgotten
Smart.
who Urban Meyer is.
No, no way.
Maybe at Ohio State, but because he didn't have any comp.
Destin.
Oh
Did
my
he not-
gosh, no comp. What are you talking about?
Destin.
What comp did he have at Ohio State? Name
At
the comp.
Georgia. He waxed Georgia off the map when he was at Florida, bro. When they had Matthew Stafford, when they had all those NFL prospects.
I'm talking about at Ohio State. At Ohio State. Who was his comp at Ohio State?
Destin, Ohio State had to play Bama in the semifinal. Who won the game?
That 1 year.
How did- Urban can win sometimes. We act
That's like
like
saying Ed Orgeron. Ed Orgeron. He beat Bama.
Oh, all right, you gonna compare Ed Orgeron to Urban Meyer?
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. We gotta go
Hey,
back.
hey, Ed Orgeron has won a championship more recently than Urban Meyer did.
You gonna compare Ed
Because Urban
Orgeron?
Meyer stopped coaching in college football 6
No, I'm
years
saying
ago. Sure,
in the
doesn't
modern-
make any
In the modern
sense.
era,
Stopped coaching
they
in
both got the same amount of hardware.
college football 6 years ago.
In the
Let me also bring up Ed Orgeron did not build that LSU team either. He inherited that from Les Miles. So don't sit up here and talk like, oh, Ed Orgeron is.
And Destin, Georgia was really good when Kirby got there. Georgia wasn't terrible. You act like they were winning 6 games
I
a year. They
didn't
were
say
winning
that.
games with Mark Wick.
I'm
They
telling
were
you,
not
Georgia.
bad.
So you think
They had Murray. When they lost to Bama barely, when the seconds ran off the clock, they was a really great team, bro.
they
wasn't
were?
terrible. You act like Kirby got there and Georgia sucked. Georgia was a really good team already too. Don't
No,
get.
that, oh my God.
All right,
they
look,
were
look. Here's
They almost beat
here's-
Bama with Mark Wick as head coach.
But
Look,
more
here's the
before
thing.
Deion
You're like
Sanders
going off one
proved
game.
nothing.
You're the one
Urban
game
Meyer-
wonder, bro. You like going off one game and then you build everything on one game.
You brought up Ed
Bro.
Orgeron. He won
Hey,
one championship.
Because you brought up Urban that won 1 chip in the modern era.
Orgeron inherited a great team. Don't compare him and Urban Meyer. That's disrespectful. That's
talking-
Don't tell me in the modern era. I
Hey,
think
how many championships does Deion Sanders have in the modern era? If we're going to bring up that.
gosh,
one.
bro.
when has he been a coach besides the last
You guys
2
have no
years?
coach. You guys have no argument.
crazy.
He hasn't been a coach long enough.
Yeah, and he coaches at Jackson State, and he hasn't proven nothing.
Yeah,
He's proven that he can bring in the #1 recruit in the nation.
Which
You know what? I hope Auburn gets Urban Meyer and then he loses to Nick Saban 3 years in
Yeah,
a row and he
honestly,
quits.
yeah,
He's gonna
yeah.
quit.
I hope Auburn gets Urban Meyer.
You
And go
lose,
like
that
forward.
don't mean
He's gonna quit after 3 years.
we're not going to look like fools because they're going to be a better team with Urban Meyer coaching their team than
That's
Sanders. That's not.
We
That's
won't
not
know
right.
that.
No, look,
That's unknowable.
The
We
thing,
don't
the
know.
thing that's the thing that Deion
We
Sanders
don't
will
know
bring.
that.
Look. I'll say this one more time, and then we can move on from Auburn.
Yeah.
The thing that Deion Sanders will bring to Auburn is a different mentality in saying, we will beat Georgia, we will beat Alabama.
They gonna do it.
You can say that all you want, but
Because
you have
look,
to go out there and prove it, man.
No, because Auburn,
You gonna do
look,
it. I
Auburn, bro, Auburn every year, they're literally the top of their goal sheet is to beat either Georgia or Alabama. Never both, because it's just not attainable. Because they don't have the right dogs in the fight. You gotta compete in recruiting if you want to succeed in college football. It's just how it is.
Closing statement.
You have to.
But you
outside of Bama, who was the second best recruiting team for those 6 years? Ohio State. Outside of Bama, it's literally Ohio State every year. What are we
I think
talking about?
Georgia caught them, though, I think.
He's the second best. He's literally second best in everything behind Saban, and we act like he just sucks. Who's the second best head coach the last decade? Behind Saban.
I'm just telling you, Urban's not a long-term answer. He's going to quit after 3 years.
Outside of Saban, who's second best coach in this decade? I'll wait. Tell me right now.
Dabo Swinney.
No,
Dabo Swinney is
in this decade. In this decade?
In this decade, is Dabo Swinney.
In the ACC.
In this decade.
So all right, no, y'all can't. No, you're not gonna sit up and talk about the Big Ten conference and then act like the ACC's been great. Who in the ACC's been good outside of Florida State that 1 year with Jameis? I'll wait.
You telling me Urban after one?
Clemson
ran that. Cakewalks.
Hold on. So you saying after
Clemson's ran that conference?
Who else is in?
Hey, who ran the Big Ten? Who's a way better conference than the
Big
ACC?
Ten is a way better conference.
Okay, but you said they both got the same amount of chips in this modern era, though, in the past decade. Actually, Dabo got more. Dabo got more.
Who's in the ACC? Who's in the ACC conference?
You say, when they get to the playoffs, they show that they can play with anybody. That's what you told me.
There's multiple teams in the Big Ten. Michigan has made a college football playoff. Michigan State made a college football playoff.
Wax.
Who in the ACC has made a college football playoff outside of Clemson? I'll wait.
Nobody.
Thank you. So who has the better conference?
The Big Ten.
It's not close. So Dabo's running through it. He's supposed to. They're way better than everybody else in that conference. Every year. Big Ten is way more Michigan is always top 10 team. Under Jim Harbaugh, they've been top 10 almost every year. Michigan State, we can laugh at them, but they win 10 games a year.
Yeah, but you're trying to. What happens when they get to the playoff, though?
They lose.
Clemson is a better playoff team than Ohio State.
That's fine, but you still got a cakewalk the whole year. You have a cakewalk.
You've never been on this cakewalk. You've never been on this cakewalk train with Clemson. You switch up your sentiment. We gotta switch gears, though.
Yeah, we need to switch gears and get off this Auburn topic. One thing I will say though, I hope you know what I hope Auburn does hire Urban Meyer just because I can already see the memes that Barstool Alabama is going to post whenever Auburn hires Urban Meyer, and I know the picture. It's going to be him getting that lap dance in his bar when he should have been with his team on the way back from their road game. That's just the type of guy Urban Meyer is.
He can have all the lap dances he wants, but he's proven infinitely more than Sanders has. We're not going to base a head coaching recruiting.
Okay, well then me personally, I would much rather play for a coach who's gonna give me that dog mentality than my coach. I'm wondering if he's out at a bar getting lap dances by a chick 30 years younger than him.
I play for a coach that's proven he can get me to the championship.
Why are we talking on this lap? This man.
Anyway, let's switch off. Like we brought up. Speaking of the Jags, now that they got rid of Urban Meyer, they're actually a team now.
Y'all are crazy,
so
bro.
They just beat the Jags. Just beat the Chargers. Not only beat them, but curb stomped them in LA. And Trevor Lawrence, like I said a few episodes ago, he is going to show out this year now that he has a coach that is not named Urban Meyer, and he's proving it this year. And the Jags, I said they'd be second in the division at the end of the year. It's looking like as of right now they're going to win that division because I don't know what's going on with the Colts. They can't be consistent.
Yeah.
So yeah, they just beat the Chiefs, but I mean, come on now. They lost to the Texans and the Jags.
And they got lucky. And they got lucky against the Chiefs because they were missing the kicker. Special team was horrible. Kelsey dropped a touchdown. That wasn't the Chiefs blew that game. They gave that game to them.
They still won.
Yeah, but come on, bro. They didn't earn the win like that. Chris Jones, the game was over, and then Chris Jones sacked Matt Ryan and then talked trash. They threw a flag and gave him an 8-minute drive. They were about to be 0-3. And we lost Eli. No, we didn't. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I thought you got froze up. But yeah, I got to give Noah all the credit in the world. I underestimated how bad of a coach Urban Meyer was. Now that this Jag team is going to be competing to win their division, and they're going to have a good shot because the competition is so weak. Trevor Lawrence is looking like an NFL quarterback now, not turning the ball over every single play. I mean, his talent, you can see his arm talent. He's a mobile guy. And Christian Kirk is proving the haters wrong. And the Jags look like they were, I mean, it destroyed the market for wide receivers. But if he keeps playing like this, it's worth it because wide receivers are, maybe we can get into this a different day, but wide receivers are really changing how valuable they are to offenses and how much better they can make your quarterback. But yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Jacksonville, and I'm glad we got those Chargers another L because the Chiefs need help.
Yeah, Jacksonville played a great game. Looking at it, I know me and Noah were on this spectrum. I think Destin and Jalen were on the other side, but I was expecting a big step up year from Trevor Lawrence, and we're seeing that so far. He's playing great football. I got to give my props to Christian Kirk. I was laughing at him in the preseason. I was expecting Trevor Lawrence to have a way better year, but I wasn't expecting Christian Kirk to, be playing this good, but he is. So got to give props to the Jaguars and even James Robinson too. He's emerged and really popped off for the Jacksonville Jaguars as well after coming off his ACL injury. So they've got things rolling right now, and obviously being able to go on the road and beat a team like the Chargers, it's really impressive, and they're off to a really good start. And we'll wait and see if they can keep it rolling.
Yeah, the Jaguars do look good. I gotta admit, they do look good. I still think the Colts could win the division. I think Destin is hopping on the. Destin, are you hopping on the Jaguars train to win the division now?
I don't know. Give me like 2 more weeks.
I'll go there.
Okay, I still got the Colts win the division because at the end of the day they still 1-1-1, so they're not too far. It's not like they're 0-3.
Yeah,
so I still, but I do like what I'm seeing from the Jaguars though so far.
It's amazing the difference of head coaching change when you give it to Urban Meyer. I mean, wow, night and day.
That's the newsflash. We all knew that Urban Meyer can't coach in the NFL.
Not his NFL abilities.
Not a surprise. Nick Saban.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll let the Urban Meyer topic rest now. We've kind of me and Destin have kind of dug him a grave, and y'all keep trying to bring him out. So I mean, we'll kind of let him rest, and do what he wants to do.
Y'all haven't done nothing. There ain't nothing y'all did except
Eli got to get the last word.
Yeah, he's always got to. But anyway, we'll move off the Jags. Speaking of teams that might be in trouble.
Great.
Let's talk about these Broncos. What's going on?
Eli?
I mean,
the way I
Broncos.
See Broncos are 2-1, even after a terrible first 3 weeks, and they're still getting acclimated to it. I mean, honestly, I look at Russell Wilson, and there was a lot of plays in that 49ers game where he had to, scramble and extend plays because, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the play calling. From what I've seen here, there was an article I actually came across this weekend after the game, and it was talking about the Broncos head coach. What's his face?
Nathaniel Hackett.
Hackett. And there was one point where he was about to go for it on his own 34-yard line during the Sunday night football game, and his assistant coach literally had to beg him to death to punt it in order for him not to go for it at their own 34. I don't like the coach right now for the Broncos. I love the pieces that they brought in, and obviously the defense played great. They really held it together in that Sunday night performance. But the coaching situation with Hackett right now, it's terrible, and I think he's holding back this offense from reaching their true potential. But they did get that win over the 49ers, and I know y'all three had the 49ers, and I was the soul. I was going to die on the hill for the Broncos this past Sunday night. So good win for the Broncos, and they're at 2-1.
They won.
See, the thing about the Broncos is they might be the worst 2-1 team of all time. and that's because they lost to arguably the worst team in the league. They barely beat arguably the worst team in the league the next week, and then the third week they beat the 49ers by 1 point. When this game, Jimmy Garoppolo was missing wide open reads left and right. Come on now. I will say I thought this 49ers offense was going to be more efficient when Jimmy G came in just because he's used to things. Trey Lance was new. But boy, after that game, maybe they'll figure it out, but I was wrong. That game, Jimmy G looked like a deer in headlights. He had Deebo Samuel. We've all seen that clip where Deebo Samuel was running wide open, and he literally just didn't see him, and he threw like a 5-yard pass over the middle and ended up being incomplete. So, when you miss opportunities like that against a good defense like the Broncos have, you'll lose the game. And obviously Jimmy G ran out the back of his own end zone for a safety, which gave the Broncos 2 points, and they only won by 1 point. So,
yeah, but if he didn't run out the back of the end zone, it would have been a pick six because the pass got picked off at the 2, and then they took it for a touchdown. So it wouldn't have mattered either way.
I know that's Russell Wilson doing a lot of work there.
Yeah.
Let me start off on the coach. First of all, I think it's clear that the only reason they hired Nathaniel Hackett is to try to get Aaron Rodgers to come over from Green Bay. That didn't work out. Now they're stuck with him. I don't know if he's going to make it after this year. He's not having a good first couple of games. But I'm not about the majority of this blame is going on the $245 million man, Russell Wilson. This guy's not performing. And I can't say I'm surprised. I knew he was going to underwhelm us, but what we've been seeing is worse than I thought. I already knew his best days were behind him. His weapons aren't the worst. Russell Wilson has always struggled with this idea of holding the ball for way too long and scrambling when he doesn't have to. I don't know why he does it, but he struggled with that a big time in Seattle. He needs to get the ball out quicker. I'm not a big fan of the offensive scheme. I got faith in the running backs, but they're just not using them properly. But I expect a guy like Russell Wilson to overcome all this. As great as I've been told that he is, MVP caliber quarterback, he should be able to make a lot more plays than he's making.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, he's not him. I had him in my top 10 coming into the season, and he's not looking like it. They gave him way too much money. And the coach he's not drawing up the best plays. I will admit that as well. But when you get Russell Wilson $245 million, you expect more. And I'm not seeing it. I think him and Hackett got some blame in this one. I'm watching the game, and Russell Wilson's not making the plays he needs to make.
Do y'all think that
money? He's not playing.
Do y'all think that I know JP just kind of brought it up, Russell Wilson's a top 10 QB?
No, not anymore.
I still think so. I think I'm not gonna overreact over his first 3 weeks with a new organization. He's still getting acclimated. Obviously, Hackett's been doing a terrible job. He's wanting to go for it on 4th downs at his own 34. So I'm not gonna overreact over just 3 weeks of football when he's completely changed locations. And I think they're gonna get it figured out. And they got a big win this weekend over the 49ers. So they're still in a good spot right now. They still have time to pick things back up and to get more acclimated and build some more chemistry with each other. So they're in a way better situation right now than a lot of other teams in the NFL. So I think they got time to pick it up and be a wild card team.
See, the thing is, to your point, yes, it is a long season, but their easiest games are already behind them. Their schedule's not getting any easier, especially with the offenses that those 3 teams in their division have. They've got 6 games still on their schedule with 3 of the best, well, really 2 of the best offenses. The Raiders haven't really produced how we thought they were. But on paper, 3 of the best offenses in the entire league. And they still have 6 games total that they've got to play these guys. And as the Broncos are what they're looking like right now, that's 6 losses to me. And
I wouldn't say the Raiders is a loss because the Raiders defense is trash and their offense hasn't been able to produce these first 3 weeks.
The Raiders have been able to move the ball more efficiently than the Broncos have, and that's not a debate.
But they can't stop water.
Because the Raiders can actually get in the red zone and actually put points on the board instead of getting stagnant and fumbling on the 1 yard line like the Broncos keep doing. I mean, when you squeak out a win against the Seahawks, when they really don't have anyone on their team outside of Jamal Adams and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, which I mean they don't have. They're both their running backs are young. Their quarterback's Geno Smith. Their offensive line's terrible. You lose to the Seahawks in Seattle. Then you barely squeak out a win against the Texans. And then you play the 49ers and somehow win that game. But, like, you still have the Raiders, Chargers, Chiefs, all in your division. You hadn't even played yet. And the way the Broncos have looked right now, that's going to be 6 cake wins for those teams.
The way I look at it, I know the Chargers and Chiefs are obviously better teams right now than the Broncos, but the Raiders, they blew a 16-point lead against the Cardinals. That's the Cardinals' only win this year. They can't stop anybody on defense. We saw them just get waxed by the Tennessee Titans this past week. I wouldn't say that's an automatic 2 losses to the Raiders.
The way the Broncos can't move the ball right now, I would say it is, because you're not going to get away with those kind of wins the rest of the year.
Well, I think if there's any team in the NFL where the Broncos can move the ball against, I think it's the Raiders, because their defense is dog water.
They couldn't move the ball against the Seahawks, though.
Okay, but the Raiders haven't proven they can stop anybody. So as of right now, I say that they can move the ball on the Raiders.
Well, I don't know.
That's a tough one. They might. I think I got them splitting. I think they'll probably split when it's all said and done. But do y'all think that Russell Wilson? You said he's not top 10. The guys are running at 10 area. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Would it be like Matthew Stafford? Would you rather have Matthew Stafford or Russ? Dak, Carr, or Kyler? Those are the guys he's competing with.
See,
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, like the thing right now is, I would still take Russell Wilson over Matthew Stafford just because Matthew Stafford's too turnover prone for me. I can't have a quarterback playing for me that's just liable to turn the ball over on any play.
Yeah.
Like Russell Wilson, if that's one thing he's good at is taking care of the ball. He just can't move the ball. So it goes both ways.
I think I'd rather take Stafford because he gonna turn it over, but he's gonna take risk.
Same time though, I mean Russell being too safe, and we're not getting down the field. How are we scoring? At least Stafford go. Yeah, Stafford.
I'm gonna spam the running backs. Spam the running backs.
Yeah, that ain't working out too well right now.
So do y'all think that this Broncos situation, like, yes, on paper they're 2-1, but their 2 wins have been ugly and just barely squeaked by. So do y'all think that their issue has more to do with Russell Wilson and the efficiency of the offense, or Nathaniel Hackett and the play calling?
It's 50-50.
Yeah. I can't. It's hard for me to pick one guy right now just because the system is new.
Right. See, I would say 50-50 as well, but when you're paying a guy $245 million, it's the fault has got to fall more on his lap than the coach. I mean, it's just got to. You can't pay a guy that much money and be this bad at offense.
It's worse. It's definitely worse. It's definitely worse.
You just can't pay a guy a quarter of $1 billion and not be able to score points on the 2 worst teams in the league. You can't do it.
Yeah, if you get Mahomes money, you got to. If you can, I mean, Lamar's supposed to be up for contracts like that. Like, you got to be better. Yeah,
that is true.
I'm thinking about it. The more I think about it, because he got better weapons on the outside than Mahomes do.
Yeah, go ahead, Eli.
There's obviously concerns with the way the Broncos' offenses look so far, but I'm not willing to overreact over the first 3 weeks. There's still plenty of football left to go, and I'm gonna give it a little more time before I start, trying to beat the nail on the head on trying to criticize Russell Wilson strictly for different issues that are going on around the organization with the coaching staff, with the play calling and whatnot. So I'm not going to be as quick as y'all are on beating down Russell Wilson just yet. I still think that he's got a lot of football left in him. He's got some playmaking ability that not many other quarterbacks have. And
what?
You're waiting. You're waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm not.
I mean, I thought you would pull the trick like you did with like the Florida taking stuff. Like you're quick to respond.
I'm not writing off Russ after week 3.
Okay.
I just want
No,
to.
Okay.
no, we're just not top.
And I still
But
think,
there's
and look,
yeah.
obviously they haven't looked great the first 3 weeks. I'm not saying they haven't. They haven't looked great offensively, but they do have a great defense. And on top of that, they've still got a guy that has experience in the playoffs.
Oh
When
my
games
gosh.
get tough and it's down the stretch.
Oh
and
my
it's
God,
first
that
team.
look.
Jalen Hurts
so
is better than
the-
him. Tua better than him. Trevor Lawrence better than him.
yeah, he's not top 10 no more, bro.
Look, so the Broncos, if you're talking about waiting, I get that Russell Wilson is in a new offense. I understand that. But the Broncos waited with Drew Lock. And they paid Russell Wilson $250 million. I don't think they would have paid him that money to just wait again. They saw these moves they saw that Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes are in their division, and the Raiders aren't an easy out either. The Broncos had to do something, or they were just going to be just bottom tier of the league for the next decade because of the two quarterbacks that are in their division. And so they bring in Russell Wilson for that sole purpose, and he has not shown he hadn't even shown flashes. Like, I get the offenses look stagnant mostly, but he hadn't even shown flashes that this offense can move the ball consistently.
He showed
And
it
that
Sunday night with a game-winning drive against the 49ers. That's a flash. He led a game-winning drive. What are you talking about?
And the flash,
most of that had to do with the running backs, though, check downs and running the ball.
Dude, they ran it in for a touchdown at the end of the drive, but Russell Wilson had multiple completions to Cortland Sutton that went 20 yards down the field, 15 yards down the field. He was moving the ball down the stretch of that game against the 49ers.
And what did the announcers say whenever that happened? They said, "Where has this been this entire game? This is what the Broncos paid for, and it's not worth $250 million to just get one drive every 3 weeks where you say, oh, that's the guy we paid. No, you want to see that every game.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you said he hasn't shown any flashes, so I'm showing you that's a false statement. He showed flashes.
I said flashes. He had a flash.
Okay, all right, whatever.
he did have a flash,
He had a flash.
not singular.
Let Russ cook. What's crazy is a lot of his old teammates don't like him. All the guys at Legion of Boom can't stand him. They say he's, I don't know why. They say he's like he's just extra. And I don't know. But if you go around, and I want y'all to look it up, a lot of his teammates are not fans of him.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff about that actually. It's kind of weird, honestly.
It's because he started thinking he was the man after the Legion of Boom carried him to a Super Bowl. He started to act like he was this, like it was all about him, when that defense hadn't got enough credit for what they did for his career.
Yeah, so I just think the Broncos have got to turn things around quickly, or this season's going to get away from them before they even know it. And they can't just keep having these losses and feel like, oh, it's just a long season, we'll figure this out, because eventually you're going to have to get wins to compete with the teams that are in your division. Because right now, 2 of those teams are probably going to make the playoffs. I mean, for sure, 1. So, I mean, the Broncos right now, they're lucky that the Raiders are 0-3, or they should be in the bottom of that division, in my opinion, just because they've looked the worst out of all 4 of those teams.
Yeah, I agree.
Same.
Anyway, let's move off these Broncos and Russell Wilson topic. Let's get on to the Dolphins and Tua, because, I mean, y'all see the sweatshirt, y'all see the hat. I mean, my Dolphins just beat the Bills, and people have made the excuses that the Bills the defensive backs were depleted. Yes, they were injured, but if you look at the stat sheet, Josh Allen threw 63 passes in that game. Tua threw 18 passes, and the Dolphins won the game. The Bills tripled the Dolphins' time of possession. The Dolphins still won the game. And so the Bills' offense has been unstoppable first 2 weeks of the season. Like, they've been running through teams not even showing any kind of competition. They've just been easy wins. Especially that offense has just not been able to be stopped. And the Dolphins defense holds the Bills to 17 points. So that's why I don't appreciate holds the Bills offense to 17 points, and the Dolphins got the safety at the end of the game. But that's why I don't appreciate the excuses coming from Bills fans or just people, NFL fans around the nation that still doubt the Dolphins because they're like, oh, the Bills defense was depleted. Yes, but our defense could not get the Bills off the field on third down, but we ended up getting stops in the red zone because Josh Allen threw that duck of a pass on 4th and goal that would have taken the lead. There was a fumble on one of their possessions where the Dolphins recovered it, and we ended up scoring on that drive. So I think that was the game of the week just because of how it ended, because the Bills had another chance to win it at the end of the game. The ball was in Josh Allen's hands, and they moved the ball down the field, but then they just ran out of time because they were out of timeouts. And the Dolphins defense won that game for sure just because Tua and his offense wasn't on the field enough.
Who want to go second?
Go.
Yes, I think I guess that's nervous because I mean he didn't believe in Tua starting the season out, and Tua balling by now. But yeah, I really like what I seen. I mean, Bills obviously was depleted in the secondary. It happens. It's part of the game. But I did like what I seen from the Dolphins. I just wanted to see them play it close. I feel like as long as they played it close, they would show that they could really contend. So I liked what I seen from them. Josh Allen's still a beast. I mean, he outside of that duck pass he threw, that should have been a touchdown. He played a pretty solid game. So I think at the end the Bills are going to get him when it matters most. But I would have liked what I seen from the Dolphins.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Jalen on that. Dolphins, it's obviously big that they can get this win to, finally knock off the Bills. I know in years past they've really struggled with that. I think it was they were on like a 5-year drought since they had beaten the Bills last time. So it's good to see them get that win, obviously, if you're a Dolphins fan. And, given the amount of time that the Bills actually had the ball, it's crazy that they only put up 19 points. So that was really, that's a big positive for the Dolphins as well, given how with the amount of time that their defense was on the field, and for them to only give up 19 points. And one of those was off of a butt safety where the punter kicked it off of the guy's butt.
Yeah, the butt punt.
The butt punt, yeah. So yeah. I was really impressed. I was really impressed with the Dolphins. Nothing, it's good to see, it's good to see a really good matchup between the Bills and for them to finally get a team that they don't blow out by 30 points.
Yeah, this game lived up to the hype. I mean, I was rooting for the Dolphins. Excited to see him. Got a little nervous. Tua looked like he was concussed. Probably is. Probably shouldn't have came back to play. I was glad he came back though for my entertainment. I know that's selfish. I think the heat played a big factor. You seen the Buffalo guys were really on both sides though, right? Everybody was cramping up. Looked like Lama wanted to pass out. It was really hot. That is a part of home field advantage, right? Playing down in Miami in September, it's gonna be tough on these guys. But Josh Allen missed a wide open touchdown. That's on him. It's funny, if Tua would have threw that pass, Twitter would have blew up.
Oh, dude. If Tua throws that throw in the dirt, I mean, we'd be having a totally different conversation right now just because of how people treat Tua compared to Josh Allen.
And I got to shout out Miami's defense. And I think McDaniel won his game. Tua did his thing. Second great game from him. Big time play on 3rd and 22 to Jalen Waddle. And that flipped the game. But Javon Holland and Melvin Ingram made big time plays when it mattered most. Josh Allen had like 3 or 4 turnover worthy plays in that fourth quarter on one of those last.
On the last drive alone, he had like 4 or 5 dropped interceptions.
Yeah, like 2 of them could have been a pick 6. So
right,
Dolphins, they're looking like they are real. I'm not gonna lie, they are looking like a real team. I'm not ready to jump off that cliff yet. I can't do it. Y'all know I have to see it to believe it in terms of when it comes to these sports stuff. So I'm not gonna jump off the field.
Hold on, you didn't do that with Deion Sanders.
What do you mean?
You gotta wait. I gotta wait to see what you do. What was the energy with Urban Meyer and D?
I seen
But
what Urban Meyer was. I seen
I
what he
saw it.
was.
I
No, you're good.
mean,
You're good. I have to see it to believe it. I seen where Urban Meyer was, and he's a quitter, and I believe it.
so
And I
what?
seen Dion as a dog, and he'll eat you and spit you out. But I need to see. At this point, I have to see it in the playoffs for me to take
Eli,
it.
see how he's on this with you see what he said on this topic, but what was his energy for the Urban Meyer topic? This is crazy. Okay, go on.
Wait,
now.
how's this crazy? I
Crazy.
seen.
I add up with this one.
What do you mean? I seen who Urban Meyer was. He's a quitter. When Nick Saban comes around, he quits. That's what
But
he
you
does. When it's time
ignore
to
the.
make the playoff and they don't vote him in, he quits. That's what I seen.
That's
I
all.
seen it. That's what I seen.
All you
Nobody
see.
wants that. I don't want quitters on my side. But for Miami, I need to see it in the playoffs. Arizona went 11-0 last year.
Yeah.
Flamed out. So I need to see it in the playoffs before I'm really, really on it. But I'm rooting for them to win every week. Tua's proven all of us who doubted him wrong, including me. I doubted him. I don't think you were wrong to doubt him. But yeah.
I mean, Tua is another example of what we keep seeing in the NFL of once they get the right coach and they get him a receiver, that you see that jump that everyone's been wanting to see out of Tua for the whole time he's been in the NFL. We're finally seeing his elite ability, which is, yes, his arm, he can throw the deep ball, but he's not on the elite tier like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and these other guys. What Tua's ability is at an elite level is his anticipation and accuracy. People have been saying that for, since he came out of college. And with these receivers and the speed they have, and paired up with Tua's elite ability, anticipation and accuracy, you're going to slice and dice teams. And once they keep cheating up on these short routes that they get racked off of, they get yards after catch on, then they'll bomb them deep. And so that's what their defense was looking like against the Dolphins on Sunday, is just don't get beat deep. Because the Ravens, the reason they lost that game is because they kept allowing the deep ball. And the Bills, for the most part, did not allow those deep balls to come out. But then on 3rd and 22, when we needed it most, we needed points. We needed more momentum in that game. Tua throws a 45-yard dime to Jalen Waddle, not only to keep the drive going, but to eventually lead to a score. So I think Tua is finally stepping into that elite ability that he was drafted to have. Now that they have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with him, and obviously Mike McDaniel was working at Miami. You've seen it. The last coach that Miami's had that started 3-0 was forever ago, and you see it in the chemistry in the locker room. The coaches love this guy. I'm buying it. I mean, obviously I'm a Dolphins fan, but I'm officially buying into the Dolphins hype of, when you compare the schedules of them and the Bills, yes, the Bills are the best team in the NFL, but the Dolphins have an easier schedule remaining than the Bills do. And now that the Dolphins have a win over the Bills under their belt, I'm assuming that the Dolphins will lose to Buffalo later on in the year because it's at Buffalo. But now that we've officially locked in at bare minimum a split with Buffalo, Miami's got a chance to win the division if they just would they have a better record the rest of the year than the Bills do. And so I think this Dolphins team is real. Just the way they play, the way they use Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle paired up with that defense too, they can stop elite quarterbacks, and they've proven it. I think that this hype is real.
Yeah, and now getting into some week 4 matchups for the NFL, and since we're on the Dolphins, their week 4 matchup they've got on Thursday night. We got the Bengals, Joe Burrow and the Bengals taking host to Tua and the Dolphins. So what's you guys' picks for that week 4 matchup?
It's still a debate whether it will be Tua and the Dolphins or not. Tua cleared concussion protocol somehow from that Bills game. but he's still dealing with back issues and his ankle issues. Whenever he tried to walk off that so-called concussion, he about sprained his ankle trying to walk it off, and then he hurt his back on a QB sneak because he kind of got bent backwards. So he's still questionable to play Thursday. My decision's got to come down to whether he's playing or not, because obviously I'm going to take the Dolphins in that game. The way their momentum's going and the way their offense is clicking, I'm taking the Dolphins in that game if Tua plays. But if Teddy plays, I'm going with the Bengals. Teddy is legit unwatchable. The drive that he played whenever Tua got hurt in that Bills game, it was 2 incompletions and a sack. So it was just hard to watch.
Yeah, this one's hard for me. The Bengals really need this game. They need it more than Miami does. So they might come in with a little bit more desperation. It's in Cincinnati. It's tough. I think I'm gonna rock with the Bengals. Yeah, I hate picking Joe Burrow, but I think they'll pull it off. That offense is it's an up and down type of team. If they can hold off the pressure a little bit, Burrow can get the ball out, they play really well. If that line, if they get dominated, then that's when things tend to fall apart for Cincinnati. So I think I'm gonna go with Cincinnati in this one. I don't know, even if Tua does play, I don't know how effective he'll be, but I'm rooting for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to lean with Destin on this. I'm gonna go Bengals in this one. I think even if Tua does still play, he's gonna be a little banged up, but I think the Dolphins put so much into that Bills game, they're gonna be a bit exhausted. And plus, coming off now it doesn't help that they have a short week too. On top of that, after playing the game against the Bills and it's on the road, everything points towards the Bengals in this game. They need this game a lot more than the Dolphins do. So I'll take the Bengals. I think they play with a little bit more desperation.
Yeah, I got the Bengals too. It's gonna be the whiteout. Got the jerseys on, and yeah, everything that y'all said. They're coming off a short week. It just makes sense. I just think the Bengals.
Yeah, I never really made my pick. I was kind of indifferent just based off Tua's injury. But I was looking at some interviews today. It looks like Tua is going to play, so I'm gonna stick with the Dolphins to get a road win.
All right, and then next one we got Vikings and the Saints. It's a pretty good week 4 matchup.
Man, the Saints offense, man, it's like you never know when something's going to happen just because you're assuming that it's going to be a turnover every play. And then somehow they'll complete a pass and then it goes for a long play. So it's just like completely unpredictable. I like the Vikings in this matchup. They're the better team like as far as efficiency wise, better coached. So I'm going to take the Vikings.
I'm picking the Saints. I'm picking
ahead.
the Saints. If the Saints do me wrong this time, this is my last time ever picking the Saints for anything ever. I've been trying to stick with them, but it's been brutal trying to watch them play. I was tired of them. Tired of watching them play. James let me down. I know his back is broke. The offenses look terrible. Defense doesn't even look as good as it was last year, which is surprising because they have the same defensive scheme going. But Minnesota got a W this past week. Count on them to be inconsistent like I know they are. They should have lost that game. So I'm rocking with the Saints.
Yeah, Kirk. Not like Jameis Winston. Kirk came up clutch for me this past week with my Vikings pick. So I'm a ride with the Vikings. I like Kirk way more than I like Jameis running my offense. Chris Olave, I'll give him some credit. He's been playing really good these past 2 weeks, and he has helped out that Saints offense a little bit for what it's worth when Jameis isn't throwing picks left and right. But I'm going to take the Vikings, though. Saints do got a good defense, obviously, but I just don't know. I think Jay Jettis, he's kind of bound for another breakout game because he's been pretty quiet these past 2 weeks compared to his week 1 matchup against the Packers. So I think the Vikings win this one.
I got the Saints because the Vikings, as I already alluded to, they're a roller coaster. So they won last week, so I got them losing this week because they're just a roller coaster of a team. So they're inconsistent.
Wait. Is this game in prime time?
I hope not.
I think it's a Sunday night football game.
All right,
Oh,
then I'm rolling with the Saints.
No,
then.
it's not. It's not. It's not. I think it's in London.
Oh,
you-
yeah.
8:30.
That's right. That's right.
It's 8:30 a.m. I was thinking it was p.m. My bad.
All right, so never mind. I'm sticking with the Vikings then because you never pick Kirk in prime time. So I'm sticking with the Vikings since it's not a primetime game.
Yeah, the next game we got up here, little AFC South matchup with the Titans and the Colts. Obviously, both teams coming off a win, their first win last week. Who y'all liking in that one?
This is probably going to be a low-scoring game, probably in the high teens or low 20s. Whoever scores that much is probably going to win the game. Two of the best running backs in the NFL. Where's this game being played at?
Indianapolis.
Okay, so Derrick Henry has had success against the Colts in the past. I don't know. This is a tough one. I'm going to go with the Colts just because they have a more efficient pass game than the Titans do, even though the Colts pass game is not that efficient. It's just better than the Titans is. So I'm gonna roll with the Colts just because they're going to have more ways to beat you than the Titans will.
I'm going with the Tennessee Titans. I think Vrabel will outcoach Frank Wright, and it's gonna be a tight one. I'm not a believer in the Colts. I feel like they should have lost this last week. They got lucky, so I can't believe I'm rocking with Ryan Tannehill, but that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I gotta disagree. I'm going with Colts in this one. I think coming off a big win over the Chiefs, obviously, I think that's gonna boost their confidence a little bit. Obviously, Michael Pittman, he's back into play now. His first game back this past week against the Chiefs. I think with him being healthy now, that's going to open up their offense a lot more, give Matt Ryan that go-to receiver that he needs in Indianapolis, and they got this at home too. So I'll take the Colts.
yeah, I got the Colts too. I think they'll bounce. I think they'll win this game. I just like their receivers a little bit more. Well, Pittman, I like their wide receiver one more than Titans. So I'm gonna ride with the Colts.
Yeah, and then another AFC South team, but they're taking on the Eagles, the Jaguars, and the Eagles.
It's tricky.
See, nobody thought the Jaguars would beat the Chargers, but the Eagles are just looking unstoppable right now. I'm rolling with the Eagles. They're the best team in the NFC so far in this season. I think they're Super Bowl contenders, so I don't think they're going to drop a game to a team like the Jags.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I gotta go Eagles too. They got too much clicking on offense, and then defensively, they held the Commanders to 2 points the majority of the game, except for a garbage time touchdown. So I'll take Jalen Hurts. They had him on the bench after the end of the third quarter. So give me Eagles.
See, we all picked the Chargers last week, and Chargers did have a lot of injuries. To be fair, it's tough. I want Jalen and the MVP narrative to keep rolling. So I'm gonna pick the Eagles, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jags pull an upset.
I got the Eagles too.
All right, and then Bills versus Ravens.
See, I don't know why this game isn't prime time. I've been seeing so much stuff on Twitter saying like the NFL is robbing the public, not putting this game in prime time. Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. I mean, that's the two best quarterbacks in the league so far this year. I mean, I honestly, that game's probably going to be a shootout. I really like the Ravens' ability to just put up points against these teams. They played two solid defenses 2 weeks in a row and dropped 35 plus on both of them. And so the Bills defense will probably still be depleted for the most part. They might get a couple guys back, but Tre'Davious White is still out. Micah Hyde's obviously out for the season. Jordan Phillips is questionable whether he's going to play or not. That's their run stopping defensive lineman. So I'm going to take the Ravens in this matchup.
Yeah, I'll go. I think I'm gonna go Bills with the bounce back. I got Bills taking this one. Ravens they looked too shaky against the Dolphins a week ago, and Bills aren't any easier. That's just as many weapons, if not more, than what the Dolphins have. And so, I mean, I know Lamar, he's going to go out there, he's going to do his thing, he's going to ball out. But I just don't trust that defense for the Ravens. And I think the Bills, even though they're a little depleted, they still got arguably the best defense in the league. So, and they got Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs on the other end. So give me Buffalo.
Who you going with, JP?
The Ravens. The secondary gonna be the Bills secondary is depleted. Poyer out, Hyde out, White out. It's just and Lamar's on he's running, he's throwing for touchdowns. Like, yeah, I gotta go with the Ravens. They're the hottest team right now.
I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think they have to bounce back, like Eli said. And I don't like what I've seen from the Ravens defense because Mac Jones was eating them up too. He just had bad turnovers in there, but he was
that is true. That is true.
Javante Parker looked the best he's ever looked. But yeah, I think Diggs, Josh Allen, get those guys back on track, and we'll have a shootout, and I think it's gonna come down to Buffalo game-winning drive at the end.
Yeah, and then the last two matchups we have here, this is a Super Bowl rematch from a few years back, Chiefs and Buccaneers. This is the primetime game that we got for this week.
I'm going Chiefs in that matchup. The Bucs, they don't look right now. They got to get their weapons back. The only thing going for the Bucs right now is their defense, and now they got to play the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs in that matchup. Mahomes and Kelsey. I mean, because Mahomes actually has weapons right now, and Brady doesn't, and so I'm going to take Chiefs.
Same. I'm going Chiefs too. I know Mike Evans should be back. But other than that, his weapon room is still depleted. They can't move the ball really well, so. I wouldn't be surprised though, because Chiefs offense, if they go another week struggling, something there, and but I'm gonna stick with my homeboy, best quarterback ever.
Yeah, this is. I don't know. I'm tempted to pick the Bucs. They do get Mike Evans back this week, and they've always got a reliable defense no matter what for the most part. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go Chiefs too. I'm gonna have to go Chiefs. I can't convince myself to pick the Buccaneers, even though they do get Evans back. They just haven't been moving the ball quite as well as we're prone to seeing them move the ball in years past. So.
And you also never know if Julio Jones is going to play. He's been questionable the last 2 weeks and ended up not playing both games. So you don't know if he's going to play or not. So,
yeah, that's another thing too. What about you, JP?
I'm going to take Tampa. I'm not confident in it, but I'm going to take Tampa. I think Julio is – I think Mike was going to have a field day with those corners.
Yeah, and then the last game we got, Rams and 49ers, Monday Night Football game.
Well,
it's a tough game.
It's tricky. You got two turnover-prone quarterbacks, man.
And then Shanahan, like, he has McVay's number.
Yeah.
It's just hard to pick the Niners after seeing what Jimmy G did last week.
It is, but I'm
going
to take the Niners.
I can't do it. Ooh, the Rams ain't look good either. But I'm gonna pick the Rams. I'm going with the Rams. I think Jalen gonna get a pick. Donald's gonna do his thing, and Stafford to get a drive in there. I know he's gonna throw a couple balls to the 49ers, but Cup's gonna probably have 2 touchdowns. So I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take the Rams too. One thing I saw from the Rams last week that was a bright spot was the fact that Cam Akers did get going a little bit. And so I think they're slowly working him into the offense a little bit more and more throughout the week or week to week. And another thing is Trent Williams is not playing in this game for the 49ers, and that does not bode well for going up against this Rams defensive line. So I'm taking the Rams 10 times out of 10 in this matchup just because how the 49ers looked last week, and they're losing the best offensive lineman in the entire NFL is not playing in this game. So give me the Rams.
Yeah, everything on paper is screaming Rams, but I'm gonna go with JP. I got 49ers in this one. They have had the Rams number in years past, and I think they get a bounce back week. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to be tricky. He's going to have some tricks up his sleeve for this Monday night game, and they're going to find ways to get a big win over the Rams, and they got it at home too, so that helps a little bit as well.
Eli, you got our records up to. Have you ever done the math for our records up this week?
I'd have to factor in last week's, but
Don't worry about it.
but yeah, last I checked, I think I was a game up, and then Noah was second, Jalen third, and then Destin. So, but that's not taking into account last week's games too. But
I know for sure I got like 2 or 3 games wrong just on last week because I picked the Bills even though I wanted to pick the Dolphins. I picked the 49ers to beat the Broncos. That's just 2 games. And I picked the Chargers over the Jags. So that's 3 games that I lost last week for sure.
Yeah, but Eli picked the Buccaneers.
Eli picked the
up?
Broncos over the 49ers last week.
He was the only person to get that right, but he was the only person to get the Bucks game wrong, I think. And then
they actually, I don't know if y'all heard, Aaron Rodgers actually said post game in that Buccaneers game, the reason they were able to get that last stop on the 2-point was because apparently the Buccaneers play popped up on the screen, and he passed the information to the sideline, and they actually knew the play before the 2-point conversion actually happened. I don't know if y'all saw that.
wait, how did the play
I saw it. No. I think I know. The thing that happened was the play before the Buccaneers should have been called for a delay of game. It was the touchdown pass, and they didn't get the call. And so, but they put the replay on the screen with the play clock in the background, and it showed them it showed the delay of game happening before the ball was snapped. And then so Aaron Rodgers told the refs hey, they just got a delay of game, and so now the refs are looking out for that. And then it happened to him again on the 2-point conversion, which backed it up to the 7-yard line instead of getting a 2-point conversion from the 2. And so, really, the Bucks big screen kind of sold them on that game, backing them up on a 2-point conversion instead of having it on the 2-yard line. They got it on the 7-yard line.
Wait, so did the actual play get shown?
It was something to do with replaying the previous play, and it showed that a delay game should have been called, and so the refs were looking for it, and then they got another delay game on the 2-point conversion since they were looking for it. So it kind of just was unlucky for the Bucks.
Yeah, it was somewhere along those lines. I know Aaron Rodgers brought it up in the post game interview. So
yeah,
that's just a little something that I saw brought up after the fact, but.
Yeah. So is that all the games? You got all of them covered?
That's all.
All right. Well, if anybody made it this far, we appreciate you. But thank you everyone for listening to episode 20 of the Rundown Podcast. We'll be back next week with some more fire and entertaining content for you guys. Peace out.
Y'all know I love y'all. Stay up, stay blessed, and we out.